Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Wednesday, September 14th, 2016, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, well, it's like this. Everything is down, except the FTSE's up a little bit, the NASDAQ's up a little bit, and gold is up a little bit, but everything else is down. On the market front, stocks close mostly lower as energy falls more than a couple of percent. U.S. stocks closed mostly lower on Wednesday, with energy weighing as oil prices fell sharply. Another element concerning investors is the U.S. presidential election. The election is finally close enough to be a worry, said Randy Warren, CEO of Warren Financial. You know what that is?
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Let's get this straight. There's a big world out there that's bigger than the U.S. elections. We are in a very critical point right now. The markets are teetering between a correction and a collapse. The only thing that's holding them up is the cheap dough that the central banks keep shoveling in there, what we've been saying now since they began doing it, and now what all the experts admit to. The election has nothing to do with the economy. Zero, nada, but a. You know the motto of the TrendsResearchInstitute and the TrendsJournal, think for yourself. And if you think this election is affecting the markets in China, throughout Asia, throughout Europe, and the world, I suggest you cancel your subscription. Maron. Oil. Poof. Oil took a hit. Man, what are we looking at here? Crude down 2.34%. West Texas down 2.69%. $46 and $43.69 respectively. You know what I've been saying over and over again. Our forecast at the Trends Research Institute on oil has been 100% accurate. Oil prices fell on Wednesday as data showing large weekly bills in U.S. petroleum products offset a surprise draw in crude stockpiles. Blah, 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 blah. And they're talking now again about the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries pointing to a larger surplus next year due to 2 new fields in non-member countries. U.S. shale drillers are proving more resilient than expected to cheap crude. OPEC added, and now they're talking about the meeting coming up. Will they come to an agreement? I believe not. Crude glut set to continue, says OPEC. It's exactly what we've been saying. U.S. oil failures hitting investors. Losses from defaults have been proportionately heavier than in past declines. In 15 defaults studied, lenders have recovered just 21% of the face value of their debt on average, compared with 58.6% average recovery for all of defaults before 2016. Holders of unsecured oil company bonds in default have an average recovery of less than 6% of their face value. It goes on and on and on. So what's keeping the markets up? It's the merger and acquisition activity. That Bayer-Monsanto deal has been done, one of the biggest mergers in history. Potash Corp and Agrium to merge. That's only at $30 billion. Going back to energy spending to fall second year in a row. And talking about spending, what's juicing the markets, what's keeping things alive. As I said from the beginning, with cheap dough, Beijing spending helps to steady economy. All right? That's all they're doing. The central banks are propping up this big bubble, blowing it up bigger. It is going to be, I believe, between a major correction and a crash. And the way things are going, with the wild cards being played, a crash, I believe, the Panic of 16, is still a reality. Ruby Tuesday's CEO steps down. The operators said it would close about 13% of its locations amid declining sales. Remember the people from Starbucks and Burger King and others also blaming the Trump campaign or the Clinton campaign, the presidential reality show, for the decline in sales. But of course, what we're looking at is a restaurant recession. Sales at food and drinking establishments, including restaurants, have slowed in 5 of the past 7 months, according to the Census Bureau. July's 5% growth from a year earlier marked the slowest growth on a percentage basis since March of 2014. Okay, now, let's really be stupid. Let's go back to the government and their numbers. They keep showing all of these increases in jobs in the restaurant sector. How come it doesn't add up? It's simple, because they lie. Everything they put out never adds up. Of course it does. It adds up to one big lie. And here's the lie. You see what's going on with Wells Fargo, the millions of people that got shafted by them, and no heads roll. Wells' boss says staff at fault for scams. Yeah, thousands of people at fault, and they didn't know about it. A neo-feudal society. The political nobility get a free ride along with the financial elite. Draghi makes appeal for those left behind. ECB President Tusk and Lagarde issue warnings on populist backlash. And they're coming out with all of this talk about what they have to do to convince we, the little people, that we've benefited from globalization. This populist backlash is huge. It's real. We don't have it real in America. We have a populist with Trump. Trump said he went out with his medical records on Dr. Oz show. Yeah, that's great, man. It's perfect for the presidential reality show. And here's what he said. Quote, he likes fast food because, quote, at least you know what they're putting in it. That's why he eats that crap. And it's simple. Crap in, crap out. Yeah. At least you know what they're putting in it. Hey, Trump or Clinton, Hitler or Hitlery, we're getting clumped. And going back to the populist, Lagarde, the head of the IMF, the International Mafia Federation, the criminal organization of the banksters, along with the other ones, talking about, again, as I was talking about Draghi, talking about the people left behind. She said, growing inequality in wealth, income, and opportunity in many countries has added to the groundswell of discontent, especially in the industrialized world. A growing sense among some citizens that they lack control, that the system is somehow against them. Everybody's going broke. A couple of people, 62, have more wealth than half the world combined. Here in the USSA, we got 400 people worth $2.5 trillion, while people are losing their homes. Wells Fargo's shafting them like every other bank, and they're saying that the system is somehow against them. She also goes on to say that world leaders need to better manage the frustration over the failure of globalization to deliver widely shared benefits. Manage the frustration. You know what that means? That means pouring on more.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
It's total horseshit, and they little prostitutes, the little boys and girls out there, and stop calling yourself journalists. You're not journalists. You're a bunch of little low-life people who suck up and bow down to everybody that pays you. You're a media whore. Get it in your head. Journalists. Save it for the little kids you talk to in high school and college, or when you give those commencement addresses and get paid to do them. There's not a journalist among you. Hey, here's the proof. Need any more? UK cites missteps on Libya. Britain's 2001 military intervention in Libya was based upon erroneous assumptions and an incomplete understanding of the situation, a panel of lawmakers said in a report due to be published Wednesday in the UK. Missteps? How about murder? How about crazy son of a bitches? Sick bastards who took the nations to war against innocent people. No. Calm down, Gcelente. They was missteps. Missteps of murder. So, going back to it, it's one big cover-up. There are no journalists. Hey, and you need any more proof? Just came out today. That's right. The American people now rate the American media the lowest in its history. Need any more proof? And again, as I keep saying, hey, I'm angry. If Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, could pick up a whip and drive out the money changers out of the temple, I'd say that's violent. Hey, so if the Prince of Peace could become a little violent, I could become a little angry about murderers slaughtering innocent people around the world. And finally, of course, in closing down into the presidential reality show, a little note here of worthiness. Donors in most industries back Hitler. Yep. The top 10 companies whose employees gave Miss Clinton in the May-June time period include tech giants Google, Microsoft, and other leading tech firms. Yep. Huh. Hey, what happened last week with those tech firms? Oh, yeah. Democracy. Yeah, you son of a bitches started wars to bring democracy. Oh, yeah, to Libya and to Syria and to Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh, no, Afghanistan, we're looking for Osama bin Laden. Yeah, the Saudis, right? Yeah. Made perfect sense to destroy a whole nation because when Saudis hiding over there. But anyway, continuing on to the thought about democracy in America, how about that Zuckerberg, huh? Yeah, not allowing, going back to the frauds of the media. And that's what Facebook has become, to put out their message and hide the message of truth. And that's why the media now is being rated the lowest in its history. Look at the picture that Zuckerberg would not allow on his Facebook. I perfectly understand it. She was a naked girl. Can't have any of that. A world-renowned photo. We've even featured it in the TrendsJournal. And they pull it off. America is an immoral nation drenched in blood and war by the Democrats and Republicans. And I'm sick of turning on the TV. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Keep your sickness to yourself. Your mind's already closed when you're locked into your little club of murderers and thieves. I don't want to hear it anymore. And I'm making an announcement today. Whether Trump or Clinton get elected, either of those two, they are not my leader. I will not follow any of them. They are not my president. They are the flax for two murderous groups called the Republicans and the Democrats, the thieves that allow the Wall Street gang, the Merrill Lynch mob, the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgan Chases, the Wells Fargos, all of them to rob our money. Whichever of these two get elected, I, Gerald Celente, will not obey the orders coming out of the White House. They are not my president. They are not my leaders, and I will not follow them. Hey, you want to follow them? That's your trip, man, not mine. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.